How's it going, guys? I'm Dr. Girdwood. We're here at Coastal Chiropractic in Port Charlotte, and Clayton has been kind enough to let us film this today. And what we got going on with Clayton is he was actually in a softball incident this past weekend. He collided with somebody and actually separated his shoulder. We went through a bunch of tests and checked his rotator cuff and made sure he didn't do any damage to that. But if you actually look at his shoulder here, sit nice and straight for me, you can see that there's a what we call a step sign. And what that means is that his clavicle and his acromion process of his shoulder blade is actually separated from each other, and that's what they call a separated shoulder. His is a grade 2 separation. So what we're going to do today is I'm actually going to show you guys how I'm going to tape his shoulder up to basically take some stress off of the arm, and it's going to give him a lot of relief and some stability in the AC joint. But I'm just going to kind of show you how we do it. Today we're going to use rock tape. You can do this with any sort of kinesio tape or dynamic tape. I just have rock tape, so that's what we're going to use today. But again, you can use anything. I've done it with dynamic tape in the past, kinesio tape. There's a bunch of different brands, but they all essentially do the same thing. So what we're going to do here is I'm actually going to have him bring his arm forward like this into flexion. What we're going to do is we're going to put an anchor down kind of on the front side there. And what I mean by that is we're just going to stick the tape without any tension put on it. And what I'm going to do is actually peel off this tape and use the end of that tape to start with a little tension. I usually start about 50% tension. And we're going to bring that right up over top of his shoulder. And we're going to make sure that we come right over the top part of that clavicle. And we're going to lay that right over top of his back. Okay, so now when he brings his arm down, go ahead and bring that down, that tape is going to pull, okay? Now, what we're going to do for the second piece of tape is we're going to add a counterbalancing tape coming from the back side. So we're going to have him bend his elbow, bring that up backwards there for me. We're going to put the first anchor here on the back side of his arm. And we're going to do essentially the exact same thing that we just did from the front, but we're going to come from the back forward. Now for this one, you got to be careful because you got to make sure that this one actually comes all the way up and over top of that clavicle. Some people will cut that too short and they'll actually miss the AC joint and won't provide any stability whatsoever. So go ahead and let that back down. So now he'll tell you after that comes down, basically what these two pieces of tape are doing is they're counteracting each other and they're hanging off the top of that clavicle. And they're basically taking the pressure off of that AC joint. So the acromion process is no longer having to support that joint quite as much. It's still supporting, but not quite as much as it was before. Gives him more stability, gives him pain relief, and allows that joint to heal a lot quicker. He's going to be kind of restricted from doing a few things here in the future. Obviously, anything overhead, heavy lifting, or anything like that for the next few days is going to be out of the question for him. But this will definitely help give him some stability, and hopefully that helps you guys. Again, this was just a AC joint taping for the shoulder. If you guys have any other questions about any other videos, please leave comments. Follow our YouTube page, The Spinal Destination. Follow us here at Coastal Chiropractic in Port Charlotte. Again, I'm Dr. Girdwood, and thanks, Clayton, for letting us film this. Appreciate it.